What?
And I'm going to give you one opportunity because we're friends.
Winner!
Yeah, F him. They went from loving this guy, best move ever, to hating him.
There's nowhere for him to go. I think there's one place.
You can't do that in the national team.
Do you even know what you're talking about?
Successful and sexy? No. It wasn't aggravating at times? Yes.
Sorry,
That's not very fair.
It's not about being fair.
Welcome to the greatest soccer show ever.
All Man United fans live in the past.
What up and welcome, friends. It is time to talk about USA Soccer. USA, USA, USA. All right, we are champions of the world, at least the CONCACAF Nations champions. It's getting a little bit blown out of proportion, but we're jumping on the bandwagon. We're loving it. What a match last night against Canada, 2-0. And we beat Mexico 3-0. And Gregg is back. Yes. Okay, so some people love it. Not many people love it. I'm probably the only one. Alexi Lawless loves it. My boy, Alexi. Everybody else seems to hate it. We're going to talk about it. We are talking USA Soccer. We're not really covering much else because it's the offseason and nobody really cares. Lots to get to. We'll do it next week. This week, 9 o'clock, it's Monday. We skipped yesterday because Canada was playing USA in Vegas. How American does that get? Anyway, we're live tonight. Join in. Put your comments below. We're going to be talking about Mr. Berhalter, the U.S. men's national team coach, as he is back. Meet the new boss, the same old boss. He's back. And then we'll talk about Mexico firing their coach today because USA curb stomped them. Man, oh man, 3-0. Could have been worse, in my opinion. Anyway, we'll get to it. Lots to get to. Before I kick it over to the kids' table, I do want to say a big thank you to Soccer World. SoccerWorld.net is where you can get all your soccer gear needs. Get that new USA jersey. They got it. Go on Facebook. Go on SoccerWorld.net. It's available. I was in there the other day. They got a lot of them. Order it today. Thank you to Next Level Training, the best trainers in the country. Get to their camps. Get your kid to their camps this summer. My kids will be there. Hell, I wish I could be there, but I got to work. Thank you to Dog and Pony Show Brewing. We love their beer. We were out there last week. We're going to be out there next week. Trust me. Get there. Thank you to the Michigan Jags. Ooh, their teams did really well at the MLS Next competition. Still going from what I understand. I watched it 9:30 Saturday morning. That was a great game. All right, boys, over at the kids' table, Nate and Brooks. How we doing, boys?
Why can't we have a normal national team?
Oh.
Why can't we just, have nice things, just be normal, just not do, weird shit, just operate like everyone else, just, be normal.
What are you talking about,
before
man?
we get to that, to my left, he's more dynamic than Gio at an attacking midfield spot. He's less controversial than a U.S. coaching hire. He's huge in India. Big India audience. This guy right there. He's single, always looking to mingle. Mothers, hide your daughters. It's the one, the only, Brooks Lambier Jr. Always twice.
Or daughters hide your mothers. I mean,
Or
I don't know, whatever.
Somebody hide somebody.
Somebody hide somebody because
Somebody's
Brooks is on the prowl. Brooks, what's going on, buddy? How you
Always on the
doing?
prowl.
I'm good. Had a lot of scouting reports to write on Saturday to watch a lot of MLS Next matches on Apple TV. This weekend, I did watch that Jags match on Saturday at 9:30, so that was a good one. And then, been quite busy with, and then obviously watching the Mexico-U.S. and the Canada-U.S. game, so that was good.
I was about to say, did you watch that game?
I did.
Which one? They were both great. They were both awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
They dominated.
And what made it awesome about that is then we just get rid of the coach that, helped dominate there. Sweet. Good job. Yay.
All right, well, why don't, that's a good spot to jump in. Why don't we jump in right there? Okay, so we beat Mexico, it was Thursday night.
No, you didn't beat Mexico. You thrashed them.
We did. We thrashed them.
3-1 with some key players missing.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Adams in the middle, mainly.
Yeah, you're
and Tim Ream in the back, who's a starter from the World Cup.
Not anymore, though.
No, I agree. I do like the pairing in the back, but hold on.
Walker
Before we get to the
Zimmerman.
players, of Zimmerman and Richards, Chris Richards, by the way, I thought he.
Well, Robinson and Richards were good too.
Yes, Robinson in the first one, yes, but I thought Richards was phenomenal. Before we get to the players, let's talk about the coaches, right? All right, we'll do the coaches. All right, so Thursday night,
We kept
3-0.
Calhoun for as a reward for how well he did, right? That's what we did. Right?
I
I haven't been following up on the news, but I'm assuming that if you beat two large country rivals, you just don't let the guy go. You kind of just keep him, right? Because he's doing a great job, and you just deserves that, right, Brooks? Right?
Yes.
That's what they did. They kept him.
Yep.
Because it's not like the World Cup's around the corner, so you can actually keep him for a little bit to see if he continuing to progress.
Yes, nope, they didn't.
I mean,
they didn't. They
they
brought in a
didn't.
new coach. They brought in.
Meet
the new coach.
Terry Henry.
No.
Brooks, Terry Henry, right? Terry Henry, he was right. This
He
one
was
got, right?
definitely not right.
Okay, then the second one, Jesse Marsh. We got Jesse Marsh, right? It's Jesse Marsh.
Nope, not even close.
I wasn't
Really?
for him. I was for Patrick Vieira.
Okay, well,
You switched to Patrick
I'm not a
Vieira?
big Vieira fan,
No,
but
I had a different one.
I'm not a big Vieira fan, but okay, I could see how maybe that would be a good hire. Good job, Patrick Vieira. I can't wait to see what he does with this team.
Nope, you'd be wrong again. All right, so
Who do we get? I mean,
meet the new boss.
Okay.
You know what's funny?
The same as the old boss, as the Who famously said.
Does he have a mustache at least to fool me?
No,
Oh,
but he does wear Nike kicks.
So does
Oh.
B.J. Callahan.
yeah.
Nope, not B.J. Callahan.
He did though.
Yeah, but
Nice.
that's
By
because
the way, did you know
that's
he
because
was
he
a-
fell out of the same tree as the new coach.
By the way, did you know that he never played college soccer? He was a college football player, by the way, and he transitioned into being soccer coach.
Is his nickname Ted Lasso?
No,
You
that's
know
what
what
they
though?
were. That's
Is
what they were
this
comparing
show?
him-
Is this show based on his life?
Maybe.
You know what though? But that just goes to show you that everyone's gonna crucify me. But some of your best coaches weren't the greatest players ever.
Thomas
Sir Alex
Tuchel.
Ferguson.
All of the best coaches in the world were crap players.
Yeah.
All
So
of them.
it-
They had to figure out other ways to win.
Right.
And they went into coaching, and they knew those other ways.
Honestly, I don't know what's going to happen with B.J. Calhoun. Hopefully,
He'll probably stay on as an
Callahan.
I'm
assistant.
hoping he stays on because
He will because
I thought
he
he was
was
great.
He
he was
was-
doing the video work
He
with a
was
lot of the
part
players.
Of, he was part of the coaching tree for Greg
Yeah.
before he left.
He will
stayed
stay.
on. Yeah,
He-
he'll stay.
He was under Jim Curtin for a little while at
Yeah,
Philly.
my buddy.
Your buddy,
and-
Jim Curtin.
Yeah, and everything I've heard, he's been phenomenal with and the players love him because when he
Yes.
breaks down video, he does it very well. Where he points out things the players can work on individually, like it's very detailed work he does, and when he scouts the opponent as well. So he will be on that staff, and they love that man.
So before we say goodbye to BJ, can we point out some great things that this guy did in 2 games? And by the way, I don't think it's
He'll do the Gold Cup.
But do you think he will, or do you think Greg's?
I
coming
thought they
in?
were bringing Greg
Greg's
into
in.
that.
I thought
No,
Greg's
they
there.
said so the pregame interview that I watched with like Oguchi Onyewu and the people on Paramount Plus, they said that they're going to stick to that BJ Callahan will do the Gold Cup, and they're going to run through some stuff with Greg, ask him what do you need, for your when you step in as coach, what do you need? Do you need extra coaches for certain things? Like they're going to go detail oriented about figuring out what he needs and then how they can best support him to help him progress the team.
Someone to handle
moving
soccer
forward.
parents.
So Greg
Maybe.
is running the show, but BJ Callahan is the puppet.
No, they're just letting him do. They said what they're going to do. They're letting him coach Nations
Nah,
League,
he's
and they're
coaching.
going to
Greg's
coach.
coaching.
Gold
Greg
Cup.
may not be there
So,
actually coaching, but
hold on.
he's
They're going to
behind the
stick to that.
scenes.
They said they would.
I don't know.
Before we say goodbye to BJ, because we are saying a little bit of a goodbye, can we give the man superior credit for jumping in?
Mm-hmm.
No warm-up games, no tune-up games,
Yep.
taking on Mexico, and at the time, what was the favorites to win, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Are we doing like are we going to do the official We Are Soccer clap for him?
Yeah, why not?
All right, why not? We'll put the applause on there too.
Because he also did some things that, and he had to deal with a lot of adversity. So, like your first game, yeah, you didn't have Tyler Adams, right? And you had a couple. You had to kind of tinker with the midfield, and he took a Gio Reyna, who normally doesn't play an attacking mid, and put him in there.
Well, you had a new also Ford and Balogun that coming
Yeah,
over trying to mesh with them.
That was pretty ballsy to put Balogun in
Yep.
right away because
Yeah.
Yep.
obviously someone who's been playing with the team and knew them is Pepe, and they had Vasquez as well, but you put Balogun in there, and everybody wanted to see him. We didn't think he'd start, and
Well,
there was, he
Vasquez.
started.
I mean, he didn't choose Vasquez, but but it was a statement to say that you're
It
coming.
was a
along.
statement. It was a statement, and I liked it. I thought it was good.
And
Now-
I wonder. Hold on, though. I wonder if he was told you're going to start this guy no matter what. Well,
I think
we'll
it
never-
was partially
know.
because it was the hype and
We'll-
everything.
We'll,
never
never
know.
really know
But
what happens behind the scenes.
I think he was worth it.
Yeah, because you got to imagine B.J. Callahan before that game kicked off.
Right.
Knew what was happening. He probably knew 24 hours
But
before what
I
was happening.
think the
Correct.
big statement was putting Gio in a 10 role when the guy normally plays out wide, even for the USA team. And when they were actually void a couple times and needed that 10 spot, they've moved Pulisic in there against Mexico. And
He's
I thought,
played. Reyna's played that position all throughout his youth career, so
that's
it's not
great, but he doesn't-
foreign. It's
that's
not
great,
foreign.
But he
to
doesn't
him.
play that for Dortmund. So it's fine that he played it when he was 10.
Well,
But he
technically,
plays
doesn't
pretty
play
much
at all
as an
for
inside
Dortmund 'cause
winger,
he sits on the
anyways.
bench.
No, he doesn't. Not when you watch him play for Dortmund. So that was and not for the USA
He
team.
comes inside the game a lot for Dortmund. So he's
Anyway.
comfortable.
It was we could go on and on about that. It was pretty ballsy to even play him, to start him, I think, right? Because he hasn't been playing consistent minutes for Dortmund. He was coming off the bench for the last 10, 15, 20 minutes
Well,
of
you could say the same about
games.
Pulisic.
Bingo.
True, yes.
But all right, I want to say this right now. For me, over the course of the two games, Pulisic was phenomenal. He put himself in the shop window, and you still went, he's still got it.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
still got the desire
He's
to
playing
play.
for a new contract. That's
He
why.
is, but he showed
That's
up
what
to
it
play.
was.
He led that
good.
team. That was a true leader right there, was it not? I mean, he was all in on that, and I loved it. Loved it.
He was good.
For me, player of the tournament over the two games. You absolutely curb stomped Mexico on Thursday night. It was 3-0. Could have been worse.
Yep.
It could have been worse. Now, Mexico made it a little stupid at the end with the red cards. I think they were doing that on purpose. They obviously knew they weren't going to win.
Yeah.
Let's get people kicked out.
Yep.
Let's see if we can get people red cards, because then those players are going to miss the final. And wouldn't you know it, Serginho Dest and Weston McKennie bought it.
So then
Bought
that's where you got to give BJ credit number 2.
See, I'm going to go in the opposite direction on you on that one, but I'm going to let you finish. I'm gonna let you
Here's
finish.
why.
Yeah.
Because heat of the moment game, it's hard to rein those players in when you're standing 70, 80 yards out and they're being attacked, and it just turns into a free-for-all. I'm not excusing anything. It just is what it is. What I'm saying is you lost then. You're already out. You're captain. You're 6, right?
Yep.
Then you lose McKennie. Then you lose your right back. And I thought not only did he game plan extremely well for Alphonso Davies with Tim Way and Scully basically alternating defensive roles as they went forward, but he also fixed up the mid with what he had. And, I was even telling you guys, like, I don't know about, basically these two, Aronson and Gio playing there, and Musa playing in the 6th role, which he doesn't traditionally do.
He did a little bit before with the U.S. and some of their other stuff they played
Yeah,
in,
but
but it
that's
wasn't
not-
much.
That's not much.
And they played
yeah.
as a double pivot.
So the fact that he was able to kind of sew this up on the spot, basically within 3 days, not having much time to game plan, not having much time to tinker or call things in, he basically fixed it against a strong Canada team. And did again really well against them.
And I'm actually I want you guys' help. I want everybody's help who's watching on this. Is it the thought that the U.S. team was just so much better, or that Mexico is really struggling at the moment?
Mexico
and Canada seem to have taken a step back.
I think Mexico's taken a huge step back because they don't have a lot coming up with the younger generation, in my opinion.
I think they have taken a massive step back. I think Canada have taken a step back. We've taken
Canada,
a step
no.
forward.
I don't think Canada's taken a step back. I think they have guys coming up the pipeline. They'll be fine. I think John Herdsman knows that, and I think they'll be fine. They'll be fine.
I think they're a little older, and their players.
Which ones?
I mean,
Alphonso
Kamal
Maria-
Miller's not
Maria-
old. Alphonso Davies isn't
now
old.
22.
Nope.
He's over the hill.
No. Laria, how old? is he?
Alistair Johnston's not.
How old are the main players? Laria.
Richie Larea's like in his mid-20s.
I think he's like late 20s, isn't he?
No,
Okay,
he's
you're
not that
okay.
old.
Who's the forward that missed the 2?
Kyle Laren? Kyle Laren's on the older side. He's probably in his later 20s,
Yeah.
but
Jonathan
he still
David's
scores goals in the Turkish
Okay,
league.
all right.
Jonathan
I'll be
David's
wrong,
23,
but I do think they've
Laren's
taken a step
28.
back. I just don't think they have the quality of players. Go ahead, Nate. You're leading
They
off
need
the-
goal scorers. They need more goal
Oh,
scorers.
absolutely. Everybody needs goal scorers, right? And I think that's probably the one thing that if the USA was playing a more solid
Jonathan
team.
David scored more goals in the same league than our shiny.
No. Jonathan Davies is a good player.
I
He's
mean-
their only player, in my opinion.
He plays in France, doesn't he?
Yeah, he plays for what was it Reigns? Reigns.
Yeah.
No, Liel.
So you don't think Canada's taken a step back?
No, I think if anything, they have more in the arsenal because of the way they've changed their youth system and how they really work with the Canadian national program. And I think you're going to see them, still grow and get better.
I don't think that was the same confident Canada team that we saw beat the USA last year.
That's why I think the USA took them for granted. And they were a different team because
right.
they weren't the
All right.
team that I think they were in this past
I'll
game.
secede to that.
I don't think USA took him for granted. I think your coach just shit the bed against Canada twice.
Either way,
Quite frankly.
Canada in qualifying, in the CONCACAF qualifying,
I mean, they won.
to me was
Yeah.
confident. Every time they stepped on the field, they knew they were going to win, and they
Yeah.
won. That's why they finished first in qualifying, right?
Correct.
But that did not look like the same team to me last night. It just looked.
Because they
They
weren't
looked
allowed to
beaten
play in
up.
negative 4-degree weather, so that kind of.
Well, it might help, right?
So
Anyway, I think I do want to say, listen, we went over a little overboard today, right? We've got the hat, we've got the little we got everything. We got everything today. We went a little overboard. I think everybody in the USA is going a little overboard. I
I don't think so.
I think USA play Holland. There's a 2-0 loss, right? I think we are.
I think if that team and that mentality, I think it's a totally different game if we play Holland again.
Hold on.
Yeah, that's
But
the
go ahead.
level of competition.
on.
We are not world beaters right now.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You guys are going, well,
I'm not saying to win.
not you. You.
Me, for sure.
Let me
Absolutely
stop
for
here.
me.
Not
Okay,
you.
all right.
Everybody's going overboard. in
You're
my
going, hey,
Fair.
my baby is sitting there. Why isn't he running tomorrow? And omitting the crawl part. Okay, before you can run, you have to be the dominant power in your region, in your area. And we weren't. Mexico had our number for various years. And then Canada was coming on, and everyone's like, oh, look how great Canada is,
Yep.
blah, blah, blah. These two games were a statement match for these players to go, no, F you, we're way better than what you think.
Yep.
And not just these two games, the fact this is the third domestic trophy in a row that no one's been able to topple the USA.
Since it started, this
Since-
Nations League
Since
started.
the Nations League,
3 in
the
a row.
Gold Cup, you know what I mean? It's
Two in a row.
it's
Did they
Three
beat
in a row for
Mexico?
sure.
Three.
Was it Mexico
It's-
twice?
I think it's 3 in a row. I heard 3 in a
Gold
row.
three in a row.
Nations League,
Oh,
League.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Three
Yep.
in a row.
Yep.
And now you're going back
now-
to the Gold Cup.
now-
It could be 4 in a row. So it
Yes.
could be.
Could
Who
be.
knows? I don't know. Maybe it won't be. But that's my point. You can't just go, well, they're not, they're not the best three. They're not going to win the World Cup. No shit.
But
No one's that.
that's what I'm saying. I'm listening to SiriusXM. I'm listening to the
stop
CNN.
listening.
I'm listening to a lot of the different outlets, and I think people have gone a little nutty. They think they're world beaters right now. And it's like,
Fine.
whoa, hold your horses, guys. We beat Mexico.
I think
We beat Canada. We are right now top of the our group here. We'll say right. Our
I think
region.
the mindset has
But
changed. The mindset-
moving forward, if we were to play we'll call them one of the top 10 teams in the world, we would give them a game, but we're not winning a tournament tomorrow.
No,
World
no.
Cup.
But I
So
think
all I'm saying is let's everybody pause.
No,
we
that's
are
correct.
very young. We are very young. Now, did we dominate? Absolutely. I thought we could have won 5-0 against Mexico. Yesterday against Canada, 2-0 was a fair scoreline in my opinion. Canada good. Probably, I think you put Canada against Mexico, Canada wins probably 1-0 or 2-0. But what I'm saying is very good. We've done that, Nate, like you said. Check. We are now the dominant force in our region for a small period of time. Now we got to take the next step forward. We are not there yet.
I would argue not for a small period of time. Look at the age of those players.
mid-20s.
And then also, Brooks can probably attest, for the players that are coming up, you have your foothold in this region is scary long and good.
Absolutely.
And these players
but
in
we've
their
yet to do that,
early
right?
20s. No,
Yeah.
our foothold is already there.
But our foothold is just there.
Just
now.
there.
Now. Not.
And if
We
you
got to
look
look
at the
3
age,
years down the road.
But you're not losing anyone in 3 years.
I understand that.
Pending any awful injuries, and that, in my opinion, wasn't even. You were missing Tyler Adams when you played Canada and Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
You were missing McKennie when you played Canada. You were missing
Serginho Dest.
Serginho Dest
Because they made silly mistakes.
Yeah, I'm just saying those.
yeah.
And so you still beat.
I think we're arguing the same thing here.
Right.
What I'm saying is we have now become the dominant force.
Yes.
I think.
But thinking it's going to last is foolish, right? Just because we're young, the other countries are going to try to topple you. They will try to put
What
plans
are they
in
gonna do?
place.
Are they going to buy players?
You mean like Balogun? Like the USA just did with Balogun?
Yeah.
They brought him over here and they sold him. So it is possible, but no, you can't do that in like club soccer.
But you have to understand that it's weird this time. It's like Mexico's in panic mode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
Usually
they
it's
just fired their
always
coach today.
But it's the opposite, though. Usually, it's like every time, it's like we feel good. We're coming into a game with the U.S. men's national team, and then Mexico beats us 2-0, 2-1 or something.
And we panic and we
Yeah, it's a weird feeling because it's the opposite. We're not in panic mode. We haven't been in panic mode even in qualifying because we've done well against.
I agree. And actually, I think Canada went into a little bit of panic mode because their coach came out and said, "We need to compete. We need more money. We need more money to compete."
So what's also funny is somebody called, and I get it, it's different. Nations League, Gold Cup, this is what we have in our regions, and now we have the Copa America, and we'll be interested to see how they do, but that's still relatively in its infancy as far as when the U.S. is actually entering it.
Yeah.
But so we have these two trophies, that is, and someone was, one person in our group was like, oh, it's a Mickey Mouse trophy. You don't fire a coach for losing a Mickey Mouse trophy. You don't fire a coach for losing a friendly. You know what I mean? So obviously they didn't treat it like that. Obviously neither nation, Canada or Mexico, viewed it as that.
Right.
And it's all about I get it. I get it. The Nations League isn't big in Europe. It's not big in other areas because you have the European Cup, and you also have the Copa America in Brazil. So I understand it's not as big there, but here it is because again. You do not fire your head coach for losing a friendly like that.
Agreed. So just so everybody's aware, Mexico fired Diego Cocoa, their head coach, today because, as the federation came out and said, we didn't just lose to America, we have lost to America before, and we were okay with that, but we were embarrassed completely. Mm-hmm. In the back of the house, they said there was disarray. There are squabbles, there's fighting, there's unorganization. So they just decided to be done with it and fire their coach.
We used to have a problem with that Tigres, the guy before, too. Diego Roca did. So,
But I think you said it best, Brooks, when you said they don't have any young players coming up. It was always the fact that USA had these players, I would say, in their prime or just past their prime, and were doing very well, and we'd compete with Mexico. We would either beat them or lose to them in a good game. But we always knew that Mexico had these young players coming through. That's not happening right now. You're right. Mexico don't have these young players coming through. The entire nation, their soccer nation, is in disarray because of this. They're going to struggle for years to come. I think they're very lucky at this point to be auto-qualified for the next World Cup.
I mean, if you really look at it, they haven't got a lot of production from the European guys when they've played. The striker Jimenez for Wolverhampton, who's scoring goals in the APL. He hasn't replicated that for the Mexican national team.
Yeah.
You have a guy in Julian Araujo who's now at Barcelona B, who's with LA Galaxy, who was a dual national for U.S. and Mexico. And he's a wing back. Sure, you can get into attack and whip in balls, but wing backs can only affect the game so much. You know what I mean? It's just some of these guys they've gotten, and listen, Mexico still plays the shenanigans and antics part of it. They play the dark arts of soccer, and they're very, very good at it.
They are.
But now, why are you still playing Ochoa in goal? That kind of makes me weary too. Is Ochoa's really past his prime here.
Dude's like a national legend, though, right? National hero.
So that's why
I agree with you.
that's
there's
why
got to be someone coming up behind him.
Yeah, and that's why I'm I just don't know if they really have those studs, that like
They
the
don't.
Velas of the world and Dos Santos that they had way back then, the
Agreed.
Guardardos and
Agreed.
all those guys.
They're
And
in
meanwhile,
disarray now.
the USA is getting ready to go to the Gold Cup with a completely different roster of players.
So, let's talk about that because I actually like that.
Yes,
I like
do.
it. Do we want to win the Gold Cup?
There's
Obviously.
some similar
But-
players
but
from
do-
the first one, like Turner's
Yeah.
in there, and I think
But some of these players.
Miles Robinson's in there as well.
2.
So
But some of these players have
Zendejas
played
is in there, 3.
60 games in the
Yeah.
course of the European season and the World Cup. They've played a lot of games. They need a rest because the USA knows 100% that, listen, when middle of July gets fired up or end of July gets fired up and their club teams come calling, they're going right back to it.
Yes.
So they do need a rest. They do need a vacation. I like the fact that we can bring in other players and take a look, though. Let's get some of these other players. Let's get them some caps. Let's get them some time. Isn't Dwan Jones on the Gold Cup
Yeah,
roster?
Dwan Jones is on
Let's
there.
get him into these meaningful games,
Yep.
right? These tournaments. I know, Brooks, you said that Gregg Berhalter is not going to be coaching, but let's be honest. He's going to be coaching, but maybe just not on the field. He'll be behind the scenes. I do want to.
I really don't think so.
I think that's
truly
a huge
think.
mistake. If
Why? BJ Callen's already done a good job. Why would you think it's a mistake otherwise? And he's been on Berhalter's staff. You don't think Berhalter has any confidence in him? I truly do believe what Aguchi and Yebu said is that they are all going to meet with Berhalter.
Yep.
They're going to let the staff do what they do now. They're going to meet with them, see what he needs, what his needs are, and then after the Gold Cup, he will come back in.
I think they'll meet with Berhalter. He will dictate a plan going forward and say, "I'd like you to see you play a 4-4-2, a 3-5-2, whatever it is."
I don't know. That sounds like club, Craig. That
Players,
sounds like a club, not an international team.
This is an international team that's getting ready for the biggest tournament of their lives in 3 years. He wants to see certain players play, and he wants to know that qualifying. Qualifying doesn't start for them, but games coming up, and then what's next year? What's the big tournament next year, Brooks?
Copa America.
Copa America. He wants to know, can Dwan Jones and other players handle the pressure? Because if he's got to call them in next year because Tyler Adams is injured or a Pulisic hasn't played for a year because he remained at Chelsea, I think he's dictating because guess what? He's now getting paid, again, the big bucks, and he is back in charge. I just think the man in charge is the one calling the shots, and he's not going to let the guys do what they want, right? I will say, though, USA Soccer and a lot of the players did give credit to Gregg Berhalter for the win, for the Nations League win.
They did because of what he built before.
Yeah, the starting 11.
Yeah.
The
starting 11, right?
Yes.
Like, if I'm Pulisic, I'd be really pumped to have the guy who guaranteed me a start almost every time. If I'm like, Jesus Ferreira, I'm like super excited that like the coach who gave me a start over Pepe, per se, is coming back. I'd be pumped about that. If I'm Jonathan Turner, I'd be ecstatic.
Turner. Yeah, Matt Turner.
Whatever, him too. I know too many Turners.
So
yeah, I'd be ecstatic that the coach that picked me over the guy who went over to Middlesbrough, and
Zach Steffen.
Yeah, I know Middlesbrough.
Middlesbrough, Pittsburgh. Yeah,
Middlesbrough. That he picked me over that guy who
Rumor is that Matt
pumped.
Crocker did interview a lot of the U.S. men's national team players, especially the senior level players, before they made the official hire.
Yeah, what'd
and
Pepe
asked
say?
their input.
What'd Pepe say? You think he had to
was
say?
shocked.
Pepe doesn't get a count.
They said he was shocked when they asked him.
Yeah, they asked him at the end of the Mexico game. He had no idea.
So do you think that's right? Do you think it's right that the players influence, that they should have a huge influence on who was the coach that was going to be selected?
I think you take 3 or 4 of your absolute starters that are going to play for the next 3 years, like a Pulisic, like a Matt Turner, like a Walker Zimmerman, and a Tyler Adams, and I think you take them aside and say, listen, we want your input here. And I think you do because, again, I think he lasts to the end, and his contract that he signed has run through 2026. And I think they do ask them. And this isn't an unusual setting. This has happened in a lot of national teams before where the FA comes and the Football Association, Soccer Association comes and says, we want the captain and the main players' input. Nate?
So let's get to the nitty-gritty with the GB guy.
Let's get what?
Nitty-gritty with the
ahead.
Berhalter. So
It's hot take.
I'm gonna take out the whole scandal thing,
Mhm.
and before people go, you condone blah. No, I'm taking it out because I don't have video evidence. I wasn't there. I don't have too many eyewitness testimonies for it. I don't know if he, kicked her under the table lightly to get her, I don't know, to change the subject, or judo kicked her in the face, spin kick a la Bruce Lee style. I have no idea. All right. I do know he's married to her, and I do know they've been married for 30 years, and this was 30 years ago.
Yep.
So I'm going to take all that out of it because the rest is speculation over there on that and how that went down and what happened then afterwards. I'm just looking at the big controversy to me with this guy is player selection, who he snubbed. Pefok, Pepe, Zach Steffen.
Oh no, Stefan wasn't a snub. Pefok and Pepe were huge snubs. Zach Steffen was not a snub. No.
Why not?
Why not? Because he was playing as a backup of Man City, and he's definitely not better than a lot of the other guys.
No, at the time that he was playing for the USA, he was playing for the backup, and then.
But also remember, he was asked. Zach Steffen was asked, and he didn't want to be a backup. He wanted to be the starter.
Exactly, because he went to Middlesbrough.
No. Gregg Berhalter said, "Zach, you can come along. You're just not going to be the starter."
I understand that,
and he said no.
Let's get the timeline right. After he went and spent the season in Middlesbrough playing as a starter there, leaving Man City on loan. Was that not what happened? And then, after he was doing that, they took, an Arsenal backup over him that wasn't starting. Where am I wrong?
He's a better goalkeeper than
Where
Steffen.
am I wrong with that situation?
He's a better goalkeeper than Steffen.
That's not what I asked. Where am I wrong with that situation?
What was the ask? Apologies. What was the ask?
So,
I was reading the funny comments about me looking like Woody from Toy Story.
Zach Steffen, you were right, was sitting on City's bench.
Yes.
And then prior to the World Cup, he went to the championship. Thank you. Championship for Middlesbrough, where he was a starter. Was a starter and was starting all the matches for them, and he didn't get taken. And who'd they take? The guy sitting on the bench for Arsenal. So you gotta ask yourself there, wouldn't you be pissed too if you went off to get starting minutes like you were told to, and then they turned around and took someone else?
Just because you go to get starting minutes and get them doesn't mean you're doing well.
Correct. That doesn't mean it puts you.
No,
he wasn't. He had made some mistakes.
Plus, he had an injury he was dealing with, I think. It was an injury.
Was.
He had made 3 or 4 mistakes, from what I understand. Again, he did.
Agree to disagree. I think he got snubbed, but okay, and that's why he didn't go along. So fine, we'll throw that one away.
He didn't go along because he didn't want to join.
He didn't want to join because he got snubbed.
But that's the end of the story. He was asked and he didn't want to go.
Yeah, he was definitely asked to be the third-string goalkeeper. Horvath, who also went on loan to get minutes at Luton Town, ended up winning in the championship, getting promoted, was asked to be the second. So it was Turner and Luton.
I think there were only a few
disagree.
snubs.
I'll scratch that one. Yeah. You had Scully, who his club had to go on a campaign for him to get a starting minute. Scally, whatever. Am I wrong on that one?
No, you're not. That's
okay,
100%. Mönchengladbach had to fight for that one.
Yeah. Now we got 3 players that are questioned.
So
Vasquez never was called in.
We shouldn't hire the best guy for the job because he snubbed 3 players?
I don't think he put the USMNT national team in the best position to win at that World Cup.
How do you take...
Apparently Matt Crocker thinks different.
How do you tell a Ricardo Pepe...
I'll tell you my reasoning of why they did this. You can go first.
How do you tell a Ricardo Pepe who scored goals in critical minutes leading up to your and won you games?
For Groningen, he kept him in the Eredivisie for as long as he could.
And how do you...
Your mom could have kept Groningen in the
Hold on, no. I'm talking for the U.S. national team. When he came on, he scored critical goals for them in order to win games.
He did.
And then they said, you know what, we're going to take a Haji White over you.
Right.
No,
I'm agreeing 100% because when we had this discussion back in November, when it was released, we were all on board. Haji White, where the hell did that come from?
You know who looked really freaking awesome these 2 games?
Who?
Gio Reyna.
He did.
And
he didn't play him.
And more rumors have come out, more news has come out about what really happened in that situation at the World Cup. Gregg Berhalter, went and told Gio Reyna before the first game, you're not going to play much in this game. And Reyna apparently, the rumor said, went off the hinge and became a little whiny you-know-what.
Yeah, through a temper tantrum.
Through a temper tantrum. I'm sorry, you're 18, 19, whatever it was at the time. You can't throw a temper tantrum. This is World Cup. You can only use your particular set of skills in certain games. So maybe not the first game, but the second game and the third game, we are going to need you. Or when we get past these games. But he threw a little temper tantrum. What does that say?
I think he shows Gregg Berhalter shows a track record of awful player management. And part of being a national team coach, a big part of it, especially when you don't have a long times with the
when the majority of the team,
the majority of the starting
though? No,
the majority
they said
of
the majority
players,
of the team. So I mean, was it at the 11 or I heard team?
What did Pete? Okay, what was Pepe's comments? What was Giordano's comments?
Of course, I'm not asking Pepe.
Oh, of course. So again, the majority of the starting 11 who know that their
The worst part
positions
was
are safe.
The worst part was, too, is when he was asked back, it was like, did you talk to them? He's like, I haven't yet. Like, why wouldn't you talk to them before?
Oh, you mean like how Joe Scully was like, yeah, the U.S. national team head coach has yet to reach out to me?
Exactly.
When he was, I don't know, starting for
All right.
Gluten Modbach and doing well?
Can I give my theory of why he was hired again?
One last piece, I will say. Yes, I would love to hear that. One last piece. Listen, every single national team coach who took a team to the World Cup left one or two players behind that we all thought maybe should have been there. I thought for the England, maybe Ivan Toney should have been there, even though he was dealing with the betting scandal, right? But putting balls in the back of the net, a penalty kick taker that you can count on, and England usually go to penalties. Either way, every national team coach left a player or two behind. He didn't leave players behind because he thought that he just didn't like their hair color or whatever it is. He wants to win. He goes with the best team he feels possible. Every coach makes.
Rumor has it that some of the guys, the higher end guys, were were close friends, so they played with the Houston national team to the right, and some of the other guys that got asked that shouldn't have been on there, and that's one reason why that they said if Berhalter didn't pick him, there was going to be some little fire in the locker room between him and the players.
I do believe.
And I believe that.
No
way.
Right.
You're telling me Hiroji Wright or whatever his name is?
Because he's good friends with Pulisic when they played the national team,
and
Pulisic's like, you need to take my friend.
I thought they took him because of the 2 goals he scored
right?
against Haiti or whatever it was.
Right?
Yeah.
Versus Ricardo Pepi, who is consistently pulling them out of the water.
I think Nate's right in
What? Huh?
player management. You are.
Oh my God.
Player management.
Whoa,
and I think
Brooks, I thought we had this discussion. You are not allowed to say that Nate is right. Not on this show, anyway.
I'm fine.
Not live on the
I'm
air.
finishing this up, and then I'm going to get to my theory.
All right. Wait. Oh, good Lord. Okay, I thought this was part of your theory. Let's go.
No, this is not. This is not.
This is great.
I'm just saying.
He's agreeing. Let him finish.
I agree with Nate that in the aspect when he says player management and man management is super important, and that is something he really failed at. If the fact and this truth is that players that were higher up, that were superstars, asked for their friends to be on the team because they wanted them to, and then B, he didn't choose and select the right lineups and the right players to be on that team, that is a huge failure to me, and you play favorites, and you can't play favorites when you're a national team coach.
Remember the tune-up matches, how he had randos all over the place,
Yes.
and didn't figure out who was going to be their number 9 leading up to this thing. And I'm going to just finish it off with this final statement with I do think he did well. I'm not discounting what he did record-wise, but I think there's more to it, especially since, historically speaking, 2-term national team coaches usually do worse their second stint.
Correct.
So that is historically accurate. Majority of the time, they do not do as well as the first stint. So with that said, I think it was time for a fresh start, and I'm very disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your service. Not saying he was bad.
Correct. He did well.
He did well, but I think staying with him is a mistake that they're going to realize.
Okay.
All right. Ready?
All right. Yep. You know what?
Okay, let me go to mine. It's
you're
very
gonna have
short.
yours,
It's
and
quick.
then I'll have the final say,
Yes.
and then we'll be done with this,
That's
and we'll
fine.
move on.
Okay. So I think it was always in the plan after kind of the stuff came out with the investigation and the notes came out that he was going to be hired back. To me, this was U.S. Soccer saying we screwed up in that we didn't follow protocol because Nate brought this up before, is that it was only Berhalter.
Stop telling him that he's right. What have we talked about, Brooks?
Nate pointed out, and we've read this is true, that it was Berhalter and one other person that interviewed, whereas U.S. Soccer with this diversity stuff they've talked about, how they need to expand and interview a lot of different people, this was U.S. Soccer saying, we messed up, we need to interview more people, but Gregg was always going to be our choice. And then after they knew the investigation came out, nothing had happened, that they had to give this time to let it just kind of sit there, that it was always going to be Berhalter. They interviewed 10 people, and they forced Crocker's hand, I feel like, that they were always going to bring him back, and that this is why Gregg Berhalter's in this situation where he is now.
I would like.
He is not the best candidate, but it was always in the works,
That
in
is
my
an
opinion.
interesting theory,
Can
my
I
friend.
see the third-party report released by them?
I was about to say,
can we
you
see-
you guys do realize there was an independent company that came in and it helped and interviewed and
Yes.
vetted, right?
By the way, how shitty is your organization that you have to have a independent third-party company make your decision? Hi, we don't know. Our one job is to pick a national team coach. We can't do that. Let's get a company to help us.
But also,
They're not the only ones.
the
Everybody
craziness of this too is that, like,
Not everyone.
I think it's
all
true.
clubs do that
I
now.
think-
It's bizarre.
I think
I
U.S.
know.
Soccer was like, we need to have 10 people. We need to throw things and be like, we're interviewing all these people.
You're essentially putting out there that this is a conspiracy theory.
He was
by the
always
way.
he was always
But-
going to be coach.
And they
Yeah.
put out names like
Pat.
Thierry Henry,
No.
Jesse
They
Marsh.
interviewed these people.
Yeah.
They interviewed these people,
Yeah.
but they were never going to give them the job, even though they're better candidates for the job. But they were
Thierry
always
Henry
gonna-
is not a better candidate for the job. Nate?
Vieira. I mean, they were interviewing. I mean, I never thought Jesse
We
Marsh
just
was going
took-
to get it,
Okay.
but I believe they followed protocol because they didn't do it before.
Yeah.
And they were like, we're going to interview 10 people. They're like, Gregg, you're fine. We know you didn't do anything. Let's let the air clear with everything. You're going to come back.
Okay.
Players want you back. And so it was always going to be Gregg Berhalter.
You are throwing out a conspiracy theory.
Even though I don't agree.
I agree. Yes, but you're throwing out, even though you don't agree with the conspiracy theory, that's what you
Yes.
think happened. I do want to put out
I
there.
gotta ask a question.
Yep,
though.
go
You
for it.
said clubs hire a third party.
yep,
Clubs
yep.
with owners who don't know soccer.
Yep.
How many national teams filled with people who know the game are supposed to?
That's a great question. I
Hire a third
have
party.
seen one or two national teams do this before.
Good ones?
No,
Okay.
no, not your top. not
Trinidad
top-
and Tobago.
Yeah, they'll do that, but like an England or a Spain
That's what
or
I
a
mean, or
Belgium
Germany,
or
which
a Italy,
you-
they know. Yeah,
You have a backroom.
I agree.
Listen, and I'll finish this my point. If I'm Gregg Berhalter and I'm here, I'm like, you implement your certain things, just let the players go. That's what I would do. Stop trying to control things and let the players go, and I think they'll be better.
You mean like a BJ Calhoun?
Callahan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see how much more freedom he let them play with?
Yep.
All right,
You could
but
tell. Yeah.
I want to. This comes back to a point I was trying to make 20 minutes ago. I think he let them play with a lot of freedom, and then we had 2 players sent off.
Mm,
I
is
think.
that because of
good.
that?
I think if Berhalter's in that on the touchline of that, those players do not put their hands to people's faces and go pushing and shoving and get sent off. I think he let them play with some freedom and let them have the creativity, and it was fun to watch. Gregg comes with a defensive-minded, disciplined approach more than what I saw from these past 2 games.
Nope.
I don't think those had happened.
I don't think.
Either way.
I don't-
it
Defensive.
matter.
He's always been known for getting up the field, but they can't finish in the final third.
He's very defensive in my opinion.
I don't
but-
think Berhalter stops what happened in Mexico.
Correct.
Both teams got red cards. Both teams
And
were-
Mexico did that on purpose.
Now,
they
I
were
will
playing
say
the dark
this.
arts to get people sent off on
I
purpose
will
because they
say
knew they weren't
this,
going to win.
and we were messaging back and forth. How many times during the Canada game where Canada, literally, their players were after the fact shoving our players
To
in the
walk
back,
off the field after when they were subbing.
and which should have been a card,
Correct.
which never happened, and our players didn't retaliate.
Correct.
So
There
BJ
wasn't
Calhoun-
quite anything
It happened.
quite as bad as in the Mexico game.
What
I
are
don't.
you talking about? Players getting subbed off. The Canada player who comes running like 10 yards away
Buchanan.
shoves them right in the back.
Yeah, that was much worse than the Balogun kick to the back of the legs, right, where the guy got straight red.
Well, that was bad. That was an intent to harm.
Yeah. That was an intent to harm because guess what? He knew everybody was going to come to his defense, the
Yeah.
player's defense, right?
The problem
Listen,
is
they did it on-
once
that's
once
what
Balogun went,
Mexico
McKenny
does.
should just ran away. But the problem
Yeah.
is he's not going to do that.
Right. Either way, I mean,
Kenny!
listen,
He's all like, "This is
Gregg-
Sparta."
Gregg is back, whether we like it or not. He's back.
You like my conspiracy theory, don't
I do
you?
like the conspiracy theory. I don't know if I'm buying into it. There was one. I don't.
I can't wait
I'm
for.
buying into the Nate.
Oh, a lot of Nate love.
No, you're not going to like this one.
Oh, I feel it.
Hey, you remember who called that back in January? Yeah, I called this back in January that he'd be back in the job. Because you know why? Because he's the best man for the job.
Best domestic coach.
Yep.
For the job.
No, I think he's the best coach for the job.
I don't.
You cannot find a coach in the world who knows MLS, the national team
I can.
players, and the other.
I can.
Really.
Apparently, rumors were your Stuttgart
Who
coach
wants
got
the
asked to
job,
interview
by
for
the
the
way?
job too.
Who wants the job? Because
I can.
USA pays notoriously
I can.
low.
I can. And he just got done coaching 2 goddamn games. That to Mr. BJ Callahan.
Not enough experience to
Not
take.
enough experience.
Not enough experience. He was a
Like-
video analyst.
Like Gregg
He
Berhalter
was
came.
he's a high-end assistant coach. Obviously, he knows
Yeah.
what he's doing.
Like Gregg
Yeah,
Berhalter came with
he
a
was the
wealth
assistant
of
coach under Anthony Hudson.
Craig, head coaching positions, depending on how you look at it, are just figurehead positions. There's very rare where there's Pep Guardiolas of the world that want to take over everything and are good at something. There's a lot of
Is
figurehead.
Pep Guardiola the best head coach in the world?
I would say so.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so,
right
too.
now he is.
Yeah.
But
But someone like
do
him
I
is
want him to
never-
run a training session because he's going to make me better? Yes. Do I
Actually-
want Gregg Berhalter? Sometimes maybe, but not for everything.
Hold on though, but you got to then also a Pep I think would fail with the U.S. national team because he can't go buy a Holland. So there's
Thank you.
So
But I think
You're
he'd make
sort of
them
proving my point
better
here.
players.
There aren't a lot of coaches who wanted to come into this situation because
I
it's a no-win situation
I dis-
for
I
a head coach
disagree.
coming here.
disagree because I just watched a guy do it.
Yes.
Again, you have to take 3 years. This is the most important cycle in the history of
You
US
already had the
soccer
players,
right
and
now.
you already have a
Already have-
system. I
Again,
mean,
you can't go buy players, so people
what
like
Jurgen Klinsmann, he
Pep
said
is a
too,
good
what Jurgen Klinsmann started and Greg Berhalter's continued.
Don't give
is
me the Jurgen
finding-
Klinsmann thing again.
No, is finding the dual national
Oh.
players.
Brooks, this is out of control today. You're not allowed to stroke his ego like this.
Hold on.
Go Brooks.
No, it's perfect. But
It is
when
perfect.
Klinsmann
Oh,
started with the dual
no.
nationals and Greg continued, they have fixed the holes and they have started to improve the youth national system. And MLS Next has helped the academies have helped and everything else. And it is now where you can come. You don't need a coach to take it from scratch and teach them everything. They have something in the arsenal. You just need to improve them a little
And
bit.
that's where they should have hired Steve Cherundolo. Because
He
Steve
would've been interesting.
Cherundolo.
No!
Hold on, let me finish.
No!
Steve Cherundolo was an assistant where, Brooks?
Stuttgart.
And where did Klinsmann where was he born and raised?
Stuttgart.
Boom. Bringing it all back, baby.
You see, guys, everybody who's watching, this is what I have to deal with. This is what I have to deal with week in and week out.
I honestly
That's why
thought
they said
they're
at the
never
kids'
going to
table.
reveal the 10 names, but I guarantee you there were 5 or 6 of them
I'm
that
sorry,
if
though.
they listed the 10 names that were better than Berhalter.
You're
You
at
thought those 10 names were better than Berhalter.
There's speculation, Craig. If they can't come out and list the 10 names.
I mean, we know some of them. Cherundolo, Jesse Marsh, who...
Marsh is not. Let's just
Okay, then you got
Cherundolo is,
Vieira,
yes.
you got Patrick Vieira, you got Thierry
Yes,
Henry.
yes, those two.
um,
yes.
Kern. Tim Kern.
Who?
You had the Stuttgart coach that was asked.
Steve Cherundolo.
No. The actual Stuttgart head coach was actually, I read something. He was
yeah?
actually, what's his name?
Hosens?
No, the
I
head
think
coach
he's a
right now.
former.
Yeah, Sebastian Hosens?
No,
the
who's the
American-
former one? The American.
Oh, yeah, the
Yeah.
Mastropasso or
Yes.
whatever. Yeah.
Yes. They're,
That would have been an
out of all
interesting
the
hire.
out of all the people we just named, Gregg Berhalter rises to the top in my opinion. He does
Yes,
not.
because he picks G. Wright and Jesus Ferreira over Pepe and Vasquez.
Every coach has players they've left at home. Those are just
Yeah, I mean, those guys-
Do I agree with it? No. I agree.
You picked
Pepe
a forward.
should have there.
That
Pepe should have been there.
Had
Scally
nothing
should have
to
been
do
there.
with your qualification.
Correct.
You literally were like, that guy. And we ran through the
It's 'cause
goddamn
he
roster.
I know.
No, we did that.
We did.
Nobody picked him. He wasn't
Correct.
on any of the anywhere.
And like Greg was like he was scoring goals in what league was he playing in? Like the
Nobody knew.
Turkish league.
the Turkish league for like not a great team.
Yeah.
I mean, Kyle Larin plays in the Turkish league and he's been doing well, but he just got moved to La Liga. But Haji Wright ain't getting moved to any big league. since.
No, I think
so,
he's
yeah.
playing MLS right now. Is he not? Or?
No, he's not.
Yeah, where the hell is Haji right
He's
now?
probably
No, gonna be a captain soon for the U.S. national team. Go Berhalter.
Yeah.
You make it sound like no one else could do this, and
I'm just saying it is. Plus, he's on, and then this is gonna sound poor. He's only getting paid 1.6 million. Okay, that is really low for a national team coach of this caliber. Because there are national team coaches in the rest of the world that are getting paid 5, 6, 7, 8 million.
Yes.
Where a lot of the coaches who were purportedly on the list, listen, they want to go coach club soccer every single day. They get to coach these players, and they get paid twice as much. So again, I think he might have been one of the best candidates on the list. We can debate that all day long.
All right, how about the Gold Cup roster? Do you want to go over that?
Yeah.
I mean, just list it. Yeah, list it off. There's a couple other things I want to make sure we get to before the end of the show.
Okay.
We are going an hour today, so we got about 10 minutes left. Let's hear that Gold Cup roster.
All right,
Mr.
so goalkeeper Sean Johnson, TFC, Gaga Slonina, Chelsea,
player.
and Matt Turner, Arsenal.
Yeah, I do find it weird. Well,
So
probably
Gaga's the
because
starter, clear starter there.
No, I
Pretty
think
close.
Turner's a starter and Sean Johnson will get time.
I would put Johnson as a starter and have Turner as a backup.
Yeah, maybe they might
Just
do that.
because I know Turner's been through an entire season with Arsenal.
Nope.
Um,
I'd put Gaga as a starter just to piss off Brooks.
yeah, maybe.
Only
Yeah.
defenders: Dewan Jones,
Ooh.
Ooh,
Aaron
yeah.
Long, Matt Miazga from FC Cincy,
Hell yeah.
Jalen Neal.
Hold on. Nate, you do realize that he's now going to play for the USA and he's going to miss time
I'm
for
okay with
Cincinnati.
that. He deserves it. He's been playing friggin'
He's been
awesome.
doing well at Cincy.
I know, I agree, but now he's going to miss important club games.
That's okay. We got other defenders.
Jalen Neal, the young LA Galaxy center back. Brian Reynolds plays for Roma. Miles Robinson, Atlanta United. John Tolkien, young left back from NYRB. And DeAndre Yedlin, still sticking around. 78.
Why the
caps.
hell are we using
Veteran.
DeAndre Yedlin? Are
You're
using
not.
a spot
the
on him?
goal
He's not going to
cup.
see a minute. He's not going to see a minute.
Use someone else. Put anybody else in
He's
there.
not gonna see a
Dewan
minute.
Jones would fill that spot
Yep.
and let Tolkien play on the other side.
Why even have him there if you're going to
Robinson.
see him in it?
Because he has 78 caps and he's a veteran.
He's a
Okay.
veteran.
No,
Midfielders.
Get someone else in there. Cap tie someone else. Get someone into whatever. Okay, onward.
Midfielders. Gianluca Busio plays for Venezia.
Yep.
Mihailovic, who's at AZ Alkmaar, so I love that move. I think Mihailovic has something to prove. He can play out wide. He can play in the middle, so he's going to be an interesting one. Aiden Morris, who is a dual national with Canada and the United States. I think he can work his way into this top-tier A
Exciting to
lineup.
see.
Christian Roldan, obviously, is going to be a steady Eddie. 32 caps. James Sands in.
I
and
like
Alan
Jamie Sands
Sonora.
getting in there. Oops, wrong slide. I like Jamie Sands being in there. I think that's a good one.
Yeah. Forwards, Cade Cowell,
Yep,
who
I
had
like
a
that.
decent U20 World
Yep,
Cup. We'll
yep.
see if he can continue with that.
And
Jesus
he
Ferreira.
performed very well in the two games back in January and February for the USA. I thought.
Yeah, he created chances.
yeah.
He needed to score, but
He
he did.
didn't score. I think did he get one? I don't
No, he
remember.
just
anyway.
hit
His
the post a
pace.
few times.
You can't teach speed. He's just got to finish. He's got to have a little bit more composure.
Correct.
I like that.
Cade Cowell, so Jesus Ferreira for FC Dallas.
Okay.
Julian Gressel, who was the new, just got his U.S. citizenship.
Yep.
Gressel can also play as like an outside back or wing back, so that's a good one. Unfortunately, he's not. Unfortunately, he's probably not going to be with the in 2026. Brandon Vasquez from FC Cincy, and then you have Zendejas, who was with the Nations League team, who's now coming over, and I think Zendejas will definitely get a lot of minutes there. So
Yeah,
it's
he
a good,
didn't play a
diverse
single
team.
minute in the Nations League, but that's fine. Let's get him
Correct.
over. Let's
I
get
think,
some
I think Vasquez is going to have a coming out party, baby.
Mhm.
possibly. Who we playing? What are the dates? When are we playing? Who are we playing? Do we know?
Teams.
I want to.
Teams in our region. We will
Countries.
do okay. I'm
I'm going to
don't-
bring that up right now.
Yeah,
No
I
momento, I'll
I
tell you.
really hope we give a lot of these players minutes.
We are
I
playing.
don't want the big boys playing. I want the
There you go.
unknowns
Nate's
playing.
got it.
We are playing Jamaica, which I believe we kicked that off in Fort George.
They had a one-time transfer from a guy, Damari Gray, who plays at Everton, who's on the England system.
Oh,
He has a
yeah.
one-time transfer moving over to Jamaica.
Yeah, good luck to him. He was never going to start or even get called in. But yeah, I
Good
agree.
for
I
Jamaica
agree.
though, because
Oh,
that
yeah,
could
he'll
really
do-
help them.
Yeah, he'll play very well in Jamaica.
Leon Bailey, maybe. Yeah.
Don't do you USA players. You better not injure Leon Bailey. We need him.
For Villa.
Yeah.
Can't wait for him to get injured.
No.
Trinidad and Tobago, which is a bit unfair.
Yeah, two countries.
countries.
Why? I mean, come on. Yes.
And we were going to play Nicaragua. Just kidding.
They until they got ejected from the tournament.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Can't do that.
Jamaica's always a tough one because Andre Blake will play
Those
and
will be-
goal
those
for
will be
them.
good
So
teams
here's
to
the thing,
play.
though, with-
Jamaica's going to be good. They're athletic. They always give us
With
issues.
Nicaragua out, there's only 3 spots in our group, and the top 2 make it.
We qualify automatically, pretty much.
Yeah, we're
close. Yay.
So it's there
Yeah.
you go.
Very interesting. All right. Well, when does it start? When are the games?
It starts
24th
June
of June. Yeah.
So, like next week. Let's go.
Yeah. It's a quick
Okay.
turnaround.
Yeah, that's a quick tournament. And again, that's why a lot of these players who just won the Nations League aren't there because they
Well, it would've been nice
they
to
do need a break.
It would have been nice to see that Cleo Malik that plays for the Rangers there.
Oh, Malik Tillman?
Yeah, Malik Tolman.
Yeah,
I mean,
Tillman,
sorry,
yeah.
I said Cleo. Malik Tolman. It would have been nice to see him in there somewhere.
I know. That was an odd. I thought they maybe would.
I think it has. To
I
do
blame
with
Berhalter
bring
for
him in.
not bringing him in.
No, it probably is him. Probably has to do with the international schedule, but
Could.
it would have been nice. It would have been nice to see him get some time in.
I think you'll see him in other. I mean, they have 2 international friendlies in October. They play Germany and Ghana, so you could see him in there as well.
Yeah.
And then they have international friendlies in September as well.
And as soon as
Yes.
Lucio Acosta's citizenship from gets approved, we'll see him in there.
Yeah, there's
Hey,
another
Brooks.
one. There's another one. I don't.
Could
well,
be possible.
Do we think?
Yeah.
Do we really think
Number
he's going to
one.
be seeing the light of day of the World Cup in 3
Needs
years?
to learn English.
You never know.
He does.
I mean, I think he deserves a run.
I mean,
He's good, man.
When
I
when
think
the
he's a
guys
great-
over in
he's a
Europe,
different player than what we currently have on the squad.
when the
He's-
guys in Europe can't make it or be released, I think he's a good one to have
yeah,
as like
absolutely.
in the arsenal.
That's a good call. When those guys don't get released for games, he's a good
Yeah.
player
He
there.
could challenge, and I think he adds something different. I think he adds.
Yes, he's a
something there.
playmaker, which
Well,
they don't
Yeah.
like. Reyna is not bad. He's technically, but he doesn't have the vision as Acosta does, in
He
my
is.
opinion.
I'm telling you right now.
That's because
if-
Acosta has experience. Sorry,
if
Nate.
FC Cincy loses Lucio Acosta, their season's done. He's that important.
Yeah,
He is
I agree.
absolutely leading.
This season, he has become super
He
important
is,
to them.
yes.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
And so a player that is absolutely pulling a starting 11 on forward with any MLS team, I think it warrants, if possible, a look, and he wants to do it. So why the hell not?
All right, boys. We got a couple of minutes left. I want to get to some quick news and notes and rumors that have been happening over the course of the last couple of days. All right, Kyle Walker moving to Bayern Munich. The move, according to Fabrizio Romano, is imminent. This is interesting. I did not think this would happen. I thought he was very happy there. His good friends are there. He doesn't want to leave England. But apparently, him not starting several big games, including the Champions League final, has gotten to Kyle Walker, and he will now be moving to Bayern Munich. Fee has not yet been agreed, but it looks like it could happen. Heung-min Son from Tottenham Hotspur, rumors are he is heading to Saudi Arabia.
yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that.
Don't like that. I
No,
think
he's not a sellout for money.
No, but he's got a couple more years left in the Premiership. I think he could be still a top player. I hope he decides to stick around.
Yeah, he should
MLS. MLS.
He's got
Not
less.
yet, bro.
he's got
A
got
couple
years.
more years.
Fine, Gundogan.
Oh, good lord.
Gundogan.
No, Gundogan has got
No,
options
I
anywhere
agree.
in the world.
I agree with that with
Is he
Son.
like 28, 29, Gundogan?
Gundogan's
Or is he
29.
30?
I think.
I think he's maybe even older, 31.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
go ahead, Nate.
I think Son has a lot of playing time left
He does.
in Europe.
Yeah.
I whether it's with a Premier League team or not, it'd be really disappointed if he went into.
He'd be good if he went to like La Liga, like he played for like Atletico Madrid. Like I think he could really
Again,
help a team or Serie A.
I think he's so
Oh,
fast. He could be. He could
Germany?
He could go. He could. Well, I don't know where he's going to play in Germany.
Be, I'm
You
confused.
mean he can't jump anyone at
Why doesn't he
Dortmund?
want to stay in the Premiership and play for any of the top 10 teams in the league?
No,
any
it's-
single.
yeah, that's-
he would
I-
fit
that's-
into any.
I was just
right?
broad stroking it,
Okay,
saying if
yeah,
he
yeah.
didn't want to stay in England, I
Okay.
think
Yeah.
he could go to
Yeah.
like a PSG.
I mean,
You know,
he could
Newcastle
go
he's going to go to.
Well, he could go to a Newcastle. I think he could
I don't
go
see
to.
him there, but yeah.
He,
Brighton?
he can't go to Germany because he would cost too much, and the only team that would be willing to pay for him is Munich, and Munich doesn't have a spot
Yeah,
for
no.
him.
Seagulls.
he ain't
Seagulls.
going there.
Seagulls.
He
Too
could
good
go
for there.
an Inter Milan. He could go to
Yeah.
a Barcelona. I don't think he'd go to Real Madrid because they just spent a lot of
Yeah,
money. For
that-
midfield,
it- he-
but he could go to Barcelona.
Right. So we'll see where he goes. It looks like possibly Saudi Arabia. Besiktas of the Turkish league wants Serginho Dest on loan from AC Milan.
Don't go.
I don't think that's a good idea. Most players. Now hold
Why is
on.
everyone loaning him? He's actually he was really good against Mexico.
I know everybody's
I just
loaning
don't
him.
want to
Everyone's
buy him.
because he can't defend. He's not a defender. He can't defend. He'll go forward with pace.
Well, you got to play him in a team that plays a 3-back. I
Yeah.
think that's the thing. He has to be a wing back.
Actually, when I said this in the group, and I still stand by it, if I was BJ and Des didn't get that red card,
Still start Scally.
I still start Scully because Scully has experience playing against Davies.
Yep.
Yes, in the Bundesliga.
I think that
And
worked
he
out. It would have been
does
interesting
well.
to see how that would have worked out, right? If Des
does
hadn't have got.
well.
All right. Anyway, onwards. Romelu Lukaku has turned down Saudi Arabia,
Best center back in the league.
and he wants to stay at Inter Milan. Interesting there. Everybody just remember, still on loan from Chelsea, owned by Chelsea. Chelsea might actually bring him back because they need a 9 with Pochettino going there as the coach. Might decide that. Moises Caicedo of your Brighton Hove Albion. Brighton Hove Albion have actually rejected a £60 million offer.
You want like 120 or something wacky.
Yep.
Yeah, he's going nowhere.
They say Brighton actually want 80.
They're going to sell him at the
but we'll see
winter
what
transfer
happens.
window.
Yeah.
The transfer market right now, and I think this is why you haven't seen anyone move really outside of Jude, is everyone's asking for
Way too
insane
much.
money.
That they're not worth that much money.
No.
Stupid money.
No.
But I do think once 1 or 2 more big transfers happen, the dominoes will fall.
I think it's important that these teams say no because they need to stop the ridiculousness of how much these players are getting paid.
It's just going to force some of these teams to go higher and higher, and then
Exactly.
you know what'll happen?
Like what's
They'll just head
so
off
what?
to Saudi Arabia.
So
Take
you
all the
probably say
money.
what? Declan Rice, he's not more than Jude, but he's probably at least $100 million player, right? Would you say?
I think in the end, Declan Rice will end up going for probably. You can quote me on this. I think he'll go for about $85 million
Fair.
plus add-ons.
Okay.
It'll be close to $100 million with add-ons.
Correct.
If he makes so many appearances in Champions League, and if
Yeah.
they win the Champions League, or if they
And
win the Premier
Caicedo's really not worth that much. He's younger than Declan Rice, but he hasn't established himself as a
only had
Declan
one
Rice in the
season,
Premier League.
really.
Exactly.
Right. The
Exactly.
thing that Declan Rice has going for him is that
Consistency.
consistency, and he is English.
Yeah.
So he costs more. All right, boys, that's going to wrap us up today. We got to. I know it was a quick hour. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. It's all we planned to go was an hour. Listen, I do want to say thank you again to our partners in crime. Thank you to soccerworld.net, soccerworld.net, where you can get all your soccer gear needs. Big thank you to Next Level Training. The best trainers in the country are here at Next Level Training. Sign your kid up for the youth camps. Find them at Next Level Training. Find their website. Sign them up. My kids are going. Nate's kids are going. Brooks, we're actually going to sign Brooks up. Brooks, we're going to sign you up for the camp because, trust me, you need it. Thank you to Dog and Pony Show Brewing. Very much appreciate you guys. We love the beers at Dog and Pony Show Brewing. I'm going to be down there in the next couple of days, probably getting some beers. I'll be sitting at the bar. Come join me. Thank you to the Michigan Jags. Listen, guys, Michigan Jags, top club. They are, man, MLS next. Their boys are going strong. They've played
U16s.
U16s, yeah. Didn't they win again today on penalties? Is that what it was? Or
yesterday
on
they beat
penalties?
St. Louis City, the U16.
Moving forward, that club, I'm telling you, they're doing really well. Thank you to the Michigan Jags. You can find them at MichiganJaguarsFC.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap us up. We will be back on Sunday. We'll do our normal 2-hour show. We will go from there. And until then, cheers.